It's important to lose quickly if you're late into an opportunity, but if you're in early and you're going to set the agenda, then you want to win slowly.
Hello, I've got Tony Hughes with me again. Welcome back, Tony.
Thanks, John. Good to be here.
Tony, you've got enormous experience in the software industry. You used to be the CEO of a software company locally, and I know that you've got good advice and you still work with lots of organisations selling software. The software world's changing dramatically.
It is.
Cloud and so on. What's your advice on how to be successful in selling in the software environment?
Well, the interesting thing today is that selling software to businesses, especially to big enterprises, the balance of power has changed quite dramatically, and buyers now want to trial, they want to test things before they'll ever commit.
And cloud allows that to happen, doesn't it?
It does. The whole thing of software as a service delivered over the cloud means that people can start with a small group and then grow out. So the era of doing a big enterprise sale and then the salesperson disappearing with the client struggling to get the value is really gone.
Pocket full of money.
Yeah, exactly. So all of those things are gone. So right now we have shared risk, which I think is really good. There's values alignment there for buyer and seller. But my advice to people selling software solutions is to absolutely be very clear about the problem they're solving. Often what happens when we're invited into an opportunity is the customer is really focused on doing a comparative analysis. They want to know, what does your product do? Does it comply with their needs and all of those things? And what gets lost is why they need to implement. So the good salespeople focus on, what are you trying to achieve with implementing our product?
And that why can be quite different from client to client, or within clients from different department to department or area to area within an organisation. True?
Yeah, it really can. And if you look at customer relationship management, CRM software, as an example, depending on whose statistics you believe, but anywhere between 1/3 to 70% of those implementations don't meet their stated objectives.
And why is that?
Well, it's very easy to end up with the world's most expensive contacts database and pipeline forecasting tool that no one believes. The reality is...
I've seen that before.
Yeah, well, the reality is, though, organisations will implement a CRM because they've had a problem occur. Maybe they want to reduce customer churn. Maybe they're wanting to be more customer-centric and support customer experience and bring sales and marketing together. So it really depends on what they're trying to achieve. And if the salesperson can get focused on what outcomes are you needing to achieve, where's the business case for making the necessary funding? Because it's a giant mistake to underfund any of these projects, especially CRM, because you're change managing salespeople like herding cats. And then you need to focus on where are the risks for them. And that's your opportunity to bring insight.
You started by saying that we can get stuck in that analysis,
yes,
and the customer can analyse a number of providers and so on. In my experience, that tends to be late in the buying process.
Yes.
And typically, one of the providers will have been right up the front.
It's very true.
Sowing the seeds, challenging the customer, driving the thought changes that the customer needs to have. In your experience, are typically all the winners of the business those people doing that? So they are the ones focused on what the why, what the value is.
Yes. So most of the time when a large organisation comes to market and they start assessing people, most of the time someone's been there early, really influencing the agenda. And it's not that you can't win if you're late to the table, but it's certainly far more difficult. So
it's tough.
Being strategic by definition means get there early, engaging with senior people, helping them establish the business case and really setting an agenda around your strengths, but things that are also very good for the client.
So never respond to an RFP or tender if you weren't there before it was...
Well, I wouldn't say never respond, because you can win, but you've got to be very clear about what defines a well-qualified prospect. What does that customer need to believe that makes them line up well for us to be able to provide the right solution?
But typically, if you're dragged in at the RFP stage, you're going to be in that analysis process,
yes,
and you really are not in a position to get back to driving what the value is in the business.
And that's why if you're late into an opportunity, the process of qualification is very important. It's important to lose quickly if you're late into an opportunity, but if you're in early and you're going to set the agenda, then you want to win slowly. You want to make those investments in people and setting the agenda.
Great advice, Tony. I think good value for a lot of salespeople and sales managers out there. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.